who've had what should be a brilliant weekend of racing. 12 months ago marked the return of Faheen, who went on to win the champion hurdle. He reappeared in the Coral hurdle at Ascot. Not as good a race tomorrow afternoon, but we do have Rock on Ruby, a former champion hurdle winner, with Barry Geraghty on board for the first time. Also up at Haydock, we have Silviniaco Conti and Q-Card, the past two winners of the Betfair Chase, taking each other on once more for Paul Nicholls and Colin Tizard. Q-Card winning the Charlie Hall first time out this season. Also, if that's not enough for you, we have Faheen's stablemate Vitor, so impressive in the JLT at the back end of last season at the Cheltenham Festival. He makes his reappearance in the Stella Artois 1965 Chase. He's your 1-3 favourite currently, taking on Putty Zig, who he beat last year. All of that to come a little bit later on, but first, let's introduce the panel. My name's Luke Elder. Alongside me is Timeform's Callum Adele, and also joining us is Adam Webb from Liverpool. How are you guys?
I'm not from Liverpool. Funny story. There was a petition in Runcorn earlier this week. Apparently the mayor of Liverpool wants Runcorn to become part of Merseyside, and it only needed 200 signatures, and we've been promised that we will not be part of Merseyside and we will remain in Cheshire.
Mayor of Runcorn's an idiot. Runcorn's already in Liverpool. I don't know what he's talking about. The guy's a moron. How the hell do you give him some power?
Oh, God, let's not go into that.
But no seriousness, we do have a good weekend of racing. The return of Vitor, guys, consensus very quickly before we get into the real stuff. Is Vitor a Gold Cup horse of the future?
I don't know. I'm going to
decisive as always.
I want proof that he stays 3 miles, and when I have proof that he stays 3 miles, then I'll make my mind up.
Yeah, but even then,
yeah,
staying 3 miles is so different to staying 3 mile 2.5 for a champion. I'm not fully convinced he's a Gold Cup horse. I think he'll stay 3 miles. I think he's a King George horse.
Agree on that as well. Well, we've also got a horse that splits many opinions throughout the National Hunt season. Silviniaco Conti making his return in the Betfair Chase a little bit later on in the afternoon. We'll get to all that a little bit later. We have 7 races to cover for tomorrow afternoon on Channel 4. You can get in touch with us as well. At On The Other Hoof is our Twitter tag. Just tweet us anything regarding the next 2 days of action, and we'll answer them at the end of the show. Also, get your fancies in. We'd love to hear from them to take on us, because we are quite regularly wrong, aren't we, Adam?
We're wrong, yeah. Well, actually, last week was an improvement. I should say that my form is rubbish every week, because it picked up finally.
How many shows had it been without you tipping a winner?
I think about 3. Since Champions Day, I think. Hurrah! I think was my last winner.
I can reveal it now. You were 1 show away from actually getting 5 from On The Other Hoof permanently.
Oh, right. Great.
We had a petition and everything.
Who was a replacement out of interest?
Yeah.
You didn't have one. There we go.
my lie doesn't go that far. But thank you for joining us this week on The Other Hoof. The first port of call for us of 7 races to cover will be the 150 at Haydock, the Betfair Price Rush Hurdle, the race that famously for everyone seemingly is keeping runners away from the fighting fifth. However, we do have a pretty poor turnout here, Adam, for the Betfair Price Rush Hurdle. Just before turning up, Irving was very impressive last time out at Wincanton. We've also got Top Notch, who was one of last season's leading juveniles behind Peace & Co. in the Triumph Hurdle.
Yeah. Although you say it's a poor turnout, it's a competitive race. I think it's not a bad race. The only problem is, as I said earlier on in the jumps preview, this race I don't think should be in the calendar because it ruins the fighting fifth, and the fighting fifth is a grade 1. This is worth more, and it's only a listed event. So
saying that as well,
it's a conditions event. I beg your pardon. Yep.
Saying that as well, we've got Irving, who won the fighting fifth last year.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. Well, then again, Paul Nicholls is sponsored by Betfair. It's a Betfair sponsored race, so he may as well leave it. He did say though that he may take in both races, but I highly doubt that. He is your favourite, and for the first time in a long time, I actually thought he was quite convincing at Wincanton. I was really impressed with him. The race, I don't know how it will work out, but I just don't really want to be on side with him tomorrow. And I am going to side with Top Notch, who was nearly unbeaten last season. He bumped into Peace & Co. in the Triumph, but he was workmanlike at Newbury, giving weight all round. And he improved as the season went on. He won nicely at Haydock and over course and distance. And I just think tomorrow, it isn't fully the time to catch him, but he is a good horse, and I think he'll win tomorrow. Melodic Rendezvous, he'll love the ground tomorrow, but the problem with him is they're running it on the flat track, and because they're running it on the flat track, they're going to get really fresh ground. And I think he really wants the inner track, where it's going to be at its most deep. Fouet Sarge, me and Callum put up. He travelled like the wrath of God coming down the hill, and he just stopped really quickly. Maybe a flatter track will help him, but at 20, I think the price reflects his chances. I think Top Notch can win this. I do think he'll be better up in trip, personally, but over 2 miles, I still think he's got the adequate pace to beat the likes of Irving and Melodic Rendezvous tomorrow.
I've got a feeling that Top Notch will be the horse this season who's not quite top class. He's just a little bit below it. He had some fantastic form last year. He's not flashy by any stretch of the imagination. He'll just get the job done. He bumped into 1-2 good in the Triumph Hurdle form, which is going to be pretty strong throughout the course of the season, I feel. Peace & Co. Will be seen either in the Fighting Fifth, the International. I believe they're leaning more towards the International Hurdle at Cheltenham next month. But Top Notch beat him by 1 horse last year, and that was Peace & Co. I think that form's at a very good level, whereas Irving has put in 1 decent run last time out, was very impressive for that matter at Wincanton last time, beating Melodic Rendezvous in the process. But I still just wanted to back it up and really show that one more time. I just feel, as I said, Top Notch could be that horse for the rest of the season. It's not quite top class, but could go along winning races like this, also throw in the likes of the Kingwell Hurdle as well. Races that are weak enough to be claiming around the 2 mile division. But once he gets to the top class sort of races, maybe even the Champion Hurdle in time, he may just come up a little bit short in that. Just see, we got a tweet from Ryan. Fair tweet from Ryan on that one. Top Notch it is for me against Irving, although personally I would like to see Irving confirm that form last time and really take a step forward. I think Adam's just seen Ryan's tweet as well. Top Notch speak as well. Is it a clean sweep?
Not seen the tweet.
I was quite impressed with Irving last time. Go on, Adam.
I was saying I was laughing at your facial reaction to Ryan's tweet. I've not seen it, but yeah.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a bit.
Okay.
Go on, Cam.
Yeah, I was impressed with Irving last time, I must say. I think soft ground on a flat track is exactly what he wants. It's a fairly quick turnaround, but I think he'll win it, to be honest. Nothing wrong with Top Notch, who should improve this season. Cracking run in the Triumph Hurdle. I'm not fully signed up to that. I know a lot of people are signed up to the Triumph Hurdle form, but I'm not fully signed up yet myself.
I am.
Are you?
I think the horseback in third Hargam is very, very talented. I have a feeling he's going to be very, very tricky this year. I think he's going to be that horse that's got a lot of ability, but doesn't always show himself in the most positive of lights. I think he's a tricky individual. I think Devilment back and forth has shown that form to be pretty solid, albeit it was softer ground in the Triumph Hurdle. But Old Guard as well comes out of that also. I think there's some very, very good horsemen. I think the Triumph Hurdle form's rock solid, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know. I'm not fully signed up to both those Henderson two that hit the front. I just think I've got plenty more to find to be Champion Hurdle candidates.
Does that include Peace & Co?
Yeah, I do.
But you like Peace & Co?
I like Peace & Co. I think he's tricky.
Okay.
I get that.
I think he's tricky.
I think Peace & Co is going to be better the better the race he runs in.
Yeah, but I find him. But I think he might turn into a bit of a kind of a my tent or yours horse. That he's probably better suited to flatter tracks. He is going to be a horse that does travel very well into his races and maybe doesn't find as much as others. Anyway, we've gone on a real tangent here. I could be wrong on Top Notch wins tomorrow. It's not a betting race; it's a watching race. I'll probably just edge for Irving. I can't believe I even said that, but I was quite impressed last time.
Yeah. Irving for Callum, then Top Notch for myself and Adam. As we go down to Ascot now, not a bad start to the Channel 4 action tomorrow for the 2:05 second race up. Stella Artois at 1965 chaser, grade 2 over 2 miles, 5 furlongs and 8 yards. Alpha has won the last 2 renewals of this race. Captain Chris is before that, and Mastermind. So whoever wins tomorrow will be joining a fairly illustrious roll call throughout the years. And Adam, really, on all known form, it should be Vitor. He's your 1-3 favourite here.
It should be. It should be. But I have doubts, and I couldn't back him at that price anyway. His JLT win was sensational. It was the best novice chase performance I'd seen at Cheltenham, and then Coney Green came along 24 hours later and went and topped it. But first time out tomorrow, I couldn't back him. And I actually think at the prices, I think Pity Zig is overpriced. He's got a run under his belt, and if he ever is going to beat Vitor, admittedly he's carrying a penalty, which I'm baffled about, but then I realise that it's to do with novice chases. you get a half penalty, and because he's already won this year, he gets an extra £5 on top. But if he is ever going to beat Vettori, it'll be tomorrow. Vettori is a tricky horse. I know Callum's got concerns that he may just be a one-trick pony in the sense that he needs one target and he needs plenty of work for it. And also Mullins' horses at the minute, some of them are really needing the run. I mean, his class could see him through, but at that price, I wouldn't want to touch him. And I think at Petit Zig, I was really impressed with him at Down Royal, and he's got the potential to progress further this season. And I think he can beat the Tour tomorrow. I will mention my old friend, the Phelan's boy. It's good to see him back after 596 days off the track. I just hope he runs a nice race before going on to bigger targets throughout the season. I find it baffling that poor old Third Intention's got to give Vettori £1. And Seventh Sky, second behind Coneygree last time, but he'd have been more interested in the handicap. I think Petit Zig can put it up to Moto just tomorrow. Anywhere else, I'd be sceptical about that.
I say, if you were having a bet in the race, if Petit Zig was 5-1 at all anyway, he'd be the each way play of the race. That would be the bet in the race. I mean, there are concerns that I have about Vettori, to be honest. It's soft, good to soft in places. If there's any rain overnight at Ascot, then it could well go fairly testing. Nothing of the fact that, or of the likes that Vettori has faced over in Ireland before. He's been beaten on soft ground twice, let's not forget, on over fences and once over hurdles, and over hurdles as well. He beat Western Boy by about a neck, I think it was, and Western Boy's far inferior to Vettori. So yes, he's a 171 horse. So yes, he's a 171 horse, probably better in the future, but no, on soft ground, he probably isn't a 171 horse. Petit Zig's still got a hell of a lot to find. He's rated 159. He was well beaten by him in the JLT. I'm happy to say for Petit Zig that he just grossly underperformed that day. He was coming into the race off the back of a fall as well. Plus, Vettori made it a relentless gallop the whole way around. He's also won this season, which gives him just that race fitness advantage, Petit Zig. But I'd be interested to see if Paul Nicholls and Santos and Davis decide to go out in front on board Petit Zig. I remember, I can't remember if it was on ATR, was making a real case for him in the King George. I think he will be a horse that will stay 3 miles and stay it fairly well. He could be a Gold Cup horse for this year if he really does improve and go up through the ranks. I think the one chance that Petit Zig's got for beating Vettori tomorrow is to try and make this a real stamina test and see how Vettori really reacts to going at a fast pace over a pretty testing 2 mile 5 furlongs. That's the only way Vettori will get beaten tomorrow if he does at that. He's a class above these, but softer ground may just be the one concern for him. Is he opposable tomorrow for you?
So, it's a tough one. I'm going to take a drink. I think it's all about the King George, so hopefully it is.
They wouldn't be able to see you drink on that. You just sort of gone to the left, gone very quiet. It's a tough one. Quiet.
Look, again, it's not a betting race, so I'm going to say that a lot tonight. I don't know. It is a strange one. Remember, obviously, Fahim made a very impressive return on this card last year. Vettori, you'd expect him to do similar. There should be absolutely no reason why he won't win really well. I don't know. I wouldn't want to oppose him. Petit Zig, he's solid, but he's going to give Vettori £5. You know, that's such a tough ask. I'm really interested to see how Phelan's boy gets on. I think, you know, he's obviously had a lot of problems, but he's a horse I've liked quite a while, to be honest. And yeah, he's better over slightly further, and he's clearly going to need this run. But he gets weight from the whole field, and if he's anywhere near fit, I'd expect him. I don't know. I probably expect him to be thereabouts.
I'm still not really expecting much from a Phelan's boy this year, to be honest. I think he won a very poor RSA.
Yeah.
And I think he was absolutely bottomed by coming out at Aintree the time after that. As a rule, I think RSA runners, or probably Gold Cup runners for that matter, shouldn't run again after Cheltenham. It's such a grueling task, especially for novices, in an RSA that's usually fairly well run, and this one especially was.
I've been impressed with him both times he's run Ascot.
Yeah.
Over fences.
I was impressed with the David many clouds. That's in the Reynolds Town, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Vettori should win. He really should.
You'd be disappointed if Vettori wasn't winning
Obviously,
anyway.
a lot, you know, quite a few of Mullins have been a little bit behind, a bit disappointing. And I have mentioned with Vettori before, I do think he's a horse that takes a lot of work to get ready. And, you know, the past 2 seasons, they've literally had Cheltenham on their mind and nothing else. And I'm not 100% convinced that they can get him to peak twice in a season. So, you know, he could just win this without being at his best. I'm hoping he gets beat tomorrow, and I'll back him for the King George.
Yeah, that's the best. That's the best.
I think
thing
he will win that. I really do think he will win that, because he's just going to be absolutely when he's fully tuned and on form. He's one of the best chasers I think you'll see.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's a completely different mold to the chasers we've got at the moment as well. He's so athletic, so agile, so fast, but he can stay well also. I think Vettel, if he does stay 3 miles, it's going to be a danger to absolutely everything in the horse racing game of fences, to be quite frank. But let's get to tomorrow out of the way first. We're back up to Haydock now for our third race on Channel 4 for tomorrow, the 2:25, the Betfair Tap Tap Boom fixed brush handicap hurdle, a grade 3 handicap over 2 miles, 6 furlongs and 177 yards. Not quite 3 miles here, Adam, but we do have 16 going to post. We'll throw in that on the other hoof agenda of will there be a non-runner to force us down to 15 and take away the first 4 of each way terms. But it is a fairly competitive race with T for 2 at the head of the market. Also, Shantu Bob not too far away. He has a couple of problems to overcome, but he has had a breathing operation.
He's had 2 breathing operations, but don't be concerned at the fact he's had 2. The first one was before Cheltenham, which was after his Warwick run, where he really needed breathing op. Basically, they wanted to run him in the Albert Bartlett or run him at the festival. So Warren Greytrex took the decision to have the first part of the wind-up done so he could work with him. He then ran okay in the Albert Bartlett, and then he had part 2, which I think was his palate being cauterised. And I think they're really sweet on him tomorrow off 143 in this. He could be a well-handicapped horse, and apparently goes chasing after this. I see the claims for him and also for T for 2 as well, who I thought shaped well at Jepso in the Silver Trophy, and this looks to have been the plan all along. Obviously, Connections won this with a Busson last year. Oberson even. Oh, God. I shouldn't have said that. Unlike most of the races that we are covering today, I actually will say there is a bet in this race. And I have been price-wise because earlier in the week, myself and Callum had an interesting chat about our camper, and he was 20 to 1 at the time. And I said, is he going for this race? And I took a risk at 20 just in case he did go for the race. And he is here. No feelies booked. And he was overpriced at 20s. When Broxbourne was in the race, she was 7 to 1, as low as that. He was as big as 20s. And I didn't get that because Broxbourne got the run of the race at Aintree when they went no pace. And our camper was inconvenienced. So tomorrow he's going to be guaranteed a pace. The trip is no concern for me. I mean, it may just turn into an out-and-out slog, and I do have a slight question mark about that, but I do think he's well handicapped off 140, and I will go as far as saying I think he's the one to beat tomorrow at the prices anyway. Yalarenki is very interesting. He's an interesting booking for Venetia Williams. He took apart a really decent novice hurdle field. I think they're a decent bunch of horses, and he put his experience to the sword, so I think he could be decently handicapped off 130. Definitely read his claims. Alcala his claims. It's a really good race, and if there's any at big prices, not many at bigger prices that would interest me. I think it's more towards the head of the market. Kemper, the main one. Closing Ceremony is another I think could go really well. He's got a really good record at Haydock. And I will say as well, Batavia runs here. I'd avoid David Pipe's runners mostly because there was something about them at the Paddy Power meeting. They were travelling through their races, but when it came to the business end, they weren't picking up. So either they weren't. It's one of two things. I either think there's something wrong with the yard, or the horses just were not ready and they're coming on for an outing. So it's a tricky one. I think we need another week or two with the Pipes before you can make a real strong conclusion on it. Kempfer is the one to beat for me. He's the only bet I've had in the race, and I think he's the one to beat.
It's a fairly tricky race, actually. Usually you have a bit of a standout performer that we know a bit more about after the race, but like last year we had Orbison winning. The year before that, Chevrolet Chambertin had the world at his feet at that stage. Before that as well, we had the likes of Din Aston, Grand Cru, and Diamond Harry, who went on to win a Hennessy in the race. This a really good roll call of winners, but this year I don't really see anything coming out of the woodwork to be a fairly top class individual. I think one for Harry could be one of the price at 20 to 1 each way. Brian Harding taking the ride for Nicky Richards. He got back to winning ways last time out at Carlisle. He beat Shot of Vodka that day, and it was a pretty above average handicap hurdle for the grade at Carlisle. Shot of Vodka, a much better horse in the past as well. If he returns to his best form, then he shouldn't be too far away, and a few nice handicap hurdles coming up. And also the horses behind, albeit they were well beaten back in 3rd and 4th, a couple of them have come out and run respectively since that day. So one for Harry, who does handle soft ground as well, should be going okay. But 20-1, he'd be the each way play in the race. But a bit of a sort of left field view about Shantou Bob. He's had his couple of breathing operations. I think tomorrow could just be the day for him. He's off a mark of 1:43. He's also bled in the past as well. Best time to catch a bleeder is first time out. They rarely do it off the back, well, especially off the back of a 253-day absence. Warren Greatrex, in every interview that he's given about Shantou Bob, he seems really quite bullish about him. Go on, Adam, I'll let you go.
When did he bleed, out of interest?
Warwick.
Wasn't that originally reported, and then he denied it afterwards? He said it wasn't that he bled, it was the breathing that was the issue.
That's what they were saying on RUK earlier, or the other day.
Okay, fair enough. I remember the bleeding issue, and then it was something else.
I think he's just a horse that's had plenty of problems in the past. I mean, we all know the best time to catch a bleeder is off the back of a reappearance, or during a reappearance anyway, of 253 days for Shantou Bob. He's been a horse who was tricky last year. He didn't really travel through his races all that well, but he always saw them out fairly strongly. He's had those breathing operations. It could just be that first time out of a mark of 1:43, he could be much, much further ahead of the rest of these. And I'd be willing to take a chance on Shantou Bob, albeit it's a fairly short price, about 6-1 in a race like this. I just feel that he could be the one to beat, and a very, very lenient handicap mark. But another one of a lenient handicap mark is T for 2 after decimating Lanzarote hurdle field last year. The handicapper really has relented in a fairly fast way for that. Off a mark of 1:41 with Lizzie Kelly's £5 claim, T for 2 could be going fairly close. But Shantou Bob for me, and I think one for Harry, could be the each way value for Nicky Richards and Brian Harding. Are
you going to back him tomorrow?
Shantou Bob?
Because I'm thinking of backing him.
Yeah, I think I will, to be honest.
I completely agree with you. Everything you said about it. So
thank you.
Yeah.
And we haven't, for once, actually discussed this one off air.
No.
So we haven't influenced each other's opinions.
It is a race where something often pops up and just...
With Shantou Bob, I've got the feeling he could absolutely bolt up tomorrow and then not win for the rest of the year.
Or absolutely bolt up or bomb out. It's either way. It could just be with too many problems, or But I mean, he's blatantly well handicapped from the fact that he was second, beating a nose in that race at Sandown behind Vita de Rock. That's clearly good. He's clearly well handicapped, especially considering he's so unexposed over the trip. He's fine on the ground, and he's just unexposed in general. I just think this has been a proper plot job, to be honest. I mean, this must have been on their mind for a long time, this race.
Well, every interview Warren Greatrex has given about Shantou Bob, albeit even if it's on the phone, you can still tell there's a little glint in his eye for this race.
Yeah. T for 2 at the top of the betting. It's quite a weird one, T for 2. He went up such a big amount for winning at Kenton and Lanzarote, and then £19 he went up. And then the handicap has very quickly given him a big chance. He's effectively only £7 higher for an absolute demolition job. And obviously the Yard have won the race twice in the recent years, including last year. Same connections. So I can see that. I think Yala Enki's got to improve a lot. Maybe not a lot, but quite a bit. I was a bit disappointed with it when it made its debut in Britain. It won well last time, but I think it's got to improve a good £7-8 plus to be winning this. Definitely red. I can't really work out. Maybe I think he might just be better in smaller fields. I know he ran well in the Cheltenham Bumper, but I was quite disappointed with him in the Albert Bala. I just thought he just wasn't up for it. He just didn't look up for it.
I think definitely red. I think he made a mistake at the wrong time, which put him on the back foot, and he never really picked up from then as the others were quickening.
He wasn't travelling a yard.
Yeah.
Was it
absolutely a yard?
Could he have left his race behind at Haydock with Fletcher's Flyer? Because that was a really good
race. Yeah. And again, I mean, that went up a fair amount, and that's been given a chance. So I'm a bit annoyed if that won tomorrow. Maybe I think it wants a proper. I mean, it will be a proper test tomorrow, but I mean, I think it's a real test, 3 miles at least. I mean, our camper and closing ceremony, I thought, were the rock solid horses that probably don't have much in hand, but you're going to expect a good run. I think in particular our camper, who I will back, even though it is price wise. There's plenty of horses that want to go forward tomorrow. I think it'd be a well-run race, which is not what he got last time when beaten by Broxwell. at Aintree, which is a really steady run race, and the leader got away. But you've got closing ceremony tomorrow. You've got, I assume Tifa 2 will probably be up there. Jarl Enki, I'd expect to be up there. Barafundle definitely will be.
Also, Brian gets a lot further than this as well.
Yeah, Bolter Brian. So there's a lot to one for Harry as well as a front runner. So yeah, there's a lot. There's plenty of pace on tomorrow. I think the trip's ideal. He's a strong travelling horse who's well handicapped potentially. He ticks a lot of boxes.
Yeah, it is a very tricky race. You can make an angle for a lot of these tomorrow in the fixed brush hurdle, but fairly wide open. For me, I'd be siding with Shantu. Bob, for you,
I will probably back Shantu Bob, and I will probably back Camphor as well. It's probably the only race, one of the races I'll have a bet in tomorrow. But yeah, I think it's a good race. So.
Our Camphor for Adam as well. A wide open race, and I think contrasting opinions to tell you that. But we're off to Ascot now for the 240, one of their feature races of the day with the Coral Hurdle, a grade 2. Over 2 miles, 3 furlongs, and 58 yards. Again, Adam, we're saying it's a lot of fairly illustrious roll call of past winners for this, with the likes of Chumbawamba, Zaynar, then went on to Silviniaco Conti, Overturn, Oscar Whiskey, Annie Power, and then Faheen last year. And yes, Adam, I am putting Chumbawamba on that list because she's the best one out of all of them.
Good. and her first offspring is hopefully going to run at Newbury next week. Fingers crossed.
Possibly. But with the Coral Hurdle for more pressing matters anyway, we've got 6 going to Bowes. A fairly disappointing 6, has to be said, with the horses that have, with the likes of the horses that have won it in the past, with Faheen winning it last year. We do have an ex-champion hurdle winner in the field, Rock on Ruby, who was over 3 miles last time out in the West Yorkshire Hurdle up at Wetherby. But Brother Ted, an improving sort, did beat Silviniaco Conti last time out in handicap conditions, was seemingly a horse going very much in the right direction for Philip Hobbs and Richard Johnson, but he hasn't run against a horse off these sort of marks anyway, of the likes of Rock on Ruby.
Yeah, he gets £8 tomorrow, Brother Ted, which I think is significant. I was really impressed with him at Kempton. He jumped really well, travelled like the wrath of God, and put the race to bed really twice, I know.
Usually it's about 5.
Just use the wrath of God twice.
I know, but that's how he travelled, and he put the race to bed.
One more time, you're going to incur the wrath of God.
Oh, God. And he put the race to bed really quickly. I mean, Silviniaco Conti has stayed on nicely into second, and we'll talk about him in a second. But I think Brother Ted will win tomorrow. He's got proven form on soft ground, and that is a doubt about Rock on Ruby. He was beaten too far out before 3 miles was even an issue at Wetherby. The ground was too soft for him. I think Barry Geraghty is a really good jockey booking. Obviously, Noel Feely's at Haydock to ride Silviniaco Conti, but I just think on the ground, getting £8, I think Brother Ted is the clear one to beat. Court Minstrel probably won't run on the ground, but he's been in real good form of late. I mean, that Silver Trophy win, that was a brilliant ride from Paul Maloney. First time up in trip properly, and he really saw it out well. I'm interested to see where they go with him. I mean, he won't get decent ground now for a while, but it'll be interesting to see where he goes in the spring. The other 3 aren't up to winning this. Grimetti was poorly priced last time out on the basis that he won a Cesarovic off 8 stone 1. River Meg, it's good to see him back, but not for me here. And Sea Lord, no thank you. Brother Ted, the one for me.
Yeah, I think I'd be inclined to agree, to be honest, on Brother Ted. He's just a horse that's going the right way with his career. He won the race Sandown, which was AP McCoy's last ever ride aboard Box Office.
Yep.
It was Box Office, yeah. I don't want to say that too confidently and be horribly wrong. But he won that in fairly nice style. It was a great number 5 that day as well. So that's clearly boosted his career. Won nicely last time out as well, beating Silviniaco Conti at Kempton. He had, albeit Silviniaco Conti wouldn't have been 100% fit, but he had him in trouble a fair way out and breezed past him like he wasn't even there. Now, for a dual grade 1 winner, he was made to look a mere mortal. I don't want to get too carried away with that, but it does show that Brother Ted is definitely an improving animal, and he's probably not going to have to be a great deal better than 155, which is his official mark at the moment, to be winning this. I think Rock on Ruby, I agree with Adam at Wetherby. 3 miles wasn't the issue. He was beaten long before 3 miles it became any sort of problem whatsoever. Just the ground. Noel Feely said he travelled fairly well on it. I was a bit worried, to be honest, turning into the back straight, that he was being niggled at. I don't think he travelled overly strongly on softer ground, so any rain would be a big negative for him. Barry Geraghty takes the ride tomorrow. I think Court Minstrel could be a big danger to Brother Ted's out of the rest of them, to be quite honest. I think Court Minstrel at 9 to 1 could be a pretty decent each way price. Won very, very well last time out at Chepstow. Travelled into the race very strongly indeed, but Court Minstrel is a tricky horse that just people rarely seem to be able to get right. But on his day, he's a very, very good horse in his own right. I think Brother Ted will be the one to beat tomorrow in what looks to be a pretty below average grade 2, has to be said. But Brother Ted could just be the horse that has a little bit of potential left for the future, and you'd imagine would go on to bigger and better things. You were with me on Rock on Ruby last time at Weatherby.
Yeah.
Are you jumping ship?
I don't know. I just couldn't back anything with confidence in this race by the fact I don't think anything really wants soft ground. Even Brother Ted, I mean, yeah, he's won on soft ground. He's won twice on soft ground at Kempton, but they're both actually shocking novice hurdles. I mean, he didn't need to be anywhere near his best to do so. And his last run was arguably, definitely a career best. Came on good ground. I do think he ideally wants good ground. I mean, he disappointed at Huntingdon on soft ground. It was a decent enough race that actually, but I don't think you really, at this level, I don't think you can really get away with it. And Rock on Ruby, I thought, to be honest, I thought he travelled pretty well. I would disagree with you. The way I looked at the race, I thought he travelled pretty well and was just, had no match for an absolute grinder like Kilcooley on very soft ground. And he was absolutely, he had nothing left to give in the final, 4 furlongs or so, because it was as far as his furthest he's ever been. I mean, I'm looking through his form and seeing the fact that he has, he does go on soft ground. It's not like he's totally good, dependent on good, fast ground. So I think he might just get away with it tomorrow. And then you look at Court Minstrel and he just hates it. I mean, he's got no form on soft ground whatsoever. That's a massive worry. And I came into this race thinking I want to get Rock on Ruby beat, and then I just don't really like anything to oppose it with. I mean, that really is the problem for me. I just don't know really what I want to do so. I mean, you even looked at Grametti and I'm thinking I'll just give up now.
Which side are you swinging then? You going for Rock on Ruby?
I think he'll win. Yeah, I don't think he's definitely not a bet. But I think his class will just get him home, I think. Brother Ted, I don't know. Not fully convinced by him on this ground, and certainly not by Court Minstrel, but Court Minstrel's got the class to be involved.
Yeah, Brother Ted then for myself and Adam. Rock on Ruby for Callum. If disagreeing once more, it's me and Adam against you tonight, which doesn't fare well for me, I have to say.
Oh.
It looked like Adam was rolling his sleeves. It looked like he was going like that, waiting for me to say something bad about him. Let's go to Haydock, shall we, Adam?
Yeah, let's go to Haydock. It actually wasn't at you, it was at Callum, because it seemed like it was 2 against 1.
Oh, right.
That's why.
The 3 o'clock at Haydock is up next. The feature race of the day, the Grade 1 Betfair Chase, over 3 miles and 24 yards. Just the 5 going to post here, Adam. I would say it's disappointing, but we have horses that have absolutely controlled this race for the last few years, with the likes of Silviniaco Conti, a dual winner of the race. Q-Card won it 2 years ago. Dinas has also made the frame in it. Hollywell was 4th in the Cheltenham Gold Cup last year, and Ballynagore comes into this race with a good 3rd in the Charlie Hall. So, albeit only 5, a pretty decent 5. Yeah,
the top 3. This is one of the reasons why National Hunt Racing is more popular with fans rather than flat racing. I'm a fan of both, and I'll say that. But when you see horses like Silviniaco Conti, Q-Card, and Dinas, I wasn't meaning it like that. Sorry, Callum.
I was psyching up as Adam getting his so on.
I was just saying that Silviniaco Conti, Q-Card, and Dinas, they come back year on year, and it's what endears fans to the sport. Tomorrow, I think it's all about Silviniaco Conti tomorrow, and that comeback run at Kempton behind Brother Ted, I was really impressed with, because I thought he'd need the run, and I thought he'd get beaten a lot further than he actually did by Brother Ted. And to be fair to him, he stuck at it from 2 out, and his jumping over hurdles, he's not been over hurdles for over 4 years, and his jumping was still economic, so slick as well. And on his form last season, excusing the Gold Cup, he is the clear one to beat here. The price is skinny, and I half thought about backing him at 3-1, thinking that Don Cossack would stay in, and then he was withdrawn. A bit far too early for my liking, so the price went. It was good to see Q-Card back in the Charlie Hall, but he had that tendency again going to the last where he looked in trouble before he quickened away again from Dinas and Ballynagore. And against a horse like Silviniaco Conti tomorrow on that ground, I don't think he can do that. because all Conti will do is gallop and gallop and gallop, and staying is the name of the game. I think Q Card does get 3 miles, just about, but Silvaniaco Conti is the strongest stayer of him, Q Card, Dinas, and I will say Ballinagora as well. Ballinagora got huge stats about the ground. Dinas, the pipe form as well is another worry for me. That's another worry for Ballinagora, but just the form of the pipe yard in general. And Holywell, it's interesting to hear, but soft ground, November, not for me. I can see him finishing about 20 lengths off them, and then he'll magically return to form in the spring for some unknown reason. I think it's all Silvaniaco Conti tomorrow. I know he's short, but he's the one to beat, and I think he wins his third Betfair Chase.
No, I agree. This time last year, it was almost scary how much better 3 mile chaser Silvaniaco Conti was than everything else in this division. However, again, he's blotched his copybook by not really handling Cheltenham, and we can't really hold that against him, to be quite honest. I mean, he's been a terrific horse over the years. He's a 9-year-old now. Just because he doesn't really perform to his best at Cheltenham, we can't shoot him down for it. He's still a very, very good horse, and he should be winning this tomorrow, albeit he isn't the greatest of prices. I think it is between him and Q Card. It's interesting to see as well the quotes that come out from Colin Tizard about Q Card, saying that he's now, well, at home anyway, he seems to be a better horse than he was before he won that Charlie Hall. Paddy Brennan seemed to get on very, very well with him indeed, and for once he looked to have really sewn all things together. So it'll be interesting to see if Q Card can do that 2 times in a row in what looks to be a much better race as well, with the addition of Silvaniaco Conti. He's got a Grade 1 horse to beat this time around, whereas last time he only beat Dinas and Ballinagora, who reoppose here this afternoon. But Silvaniaco Conti should really be taking this tomorrow. There's no reason to suggest why he should get beaten in this field. Q Card would have to put up a career best loss, or a career best to be beating Silvaniaco Conti tomorrow, unless the latter mentioned does underperform. Silvaniaco Conti, though, I'm finding it hard to see how he gets beaten this on the back of his King George performance last year, even at Aintree as well, when he beat Holywell at his preferred time of year on better ground. There's no question marks about Silvaniaco Conti at all. He's had his run. He's never been beaten a second time out in the season. So for me, you can't get Silvaniaco Conti beat tomorrow. You can try, but for me, I'm not finding it fairly easy. How about you?
I've got a sneaky feeling Q Card wins tomorrow.
Back on that ship, are you?
Somewhat I am. Thought it's quite interesting. All these gallant and game chasers all wear some sort of headgear or tongue tie tomorrow. It's quite a good spot, I thought. That. Look, Conti, you can't complain with. Second time out record that everyone keeps talking about. Good on the horse. I would have preferred him running in a chase, to be honest. First time out. I know it could be quite a strange comment, but
I mean, the term, well, with the second time out rule, I mean, it's just a different way of saying he needs to run.
Yeah.
First time out, and he's better for it.
Yeah.
So it's just a different way of saying that.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's just a bit Pontier, isn't it?
I really hope Lydia Hislop isn't watching this.
I don't know. It's just that both times he's come here and won, he's come off the back of running in Charlie Hall. Yeah, I think I'm right in saying that. Yeah. Whereas this year, or when he got beat, he didn't have a run, but this year it was a pretty satisfactory run. I don't know, I just got a sneaky suspicion Q Card might do it. I thought I've always felt really rated Q Card very highly. Based on his last run, he looked as good as ever. I think they've really got him sorted back again, which really surprises me. He probably just gets outstayed by Silvaniaco Conti. I think Q Card needs to jump extremely well, because when his jumping doesn't hold up, he has absolutely no chance of winning this. But
that's like in this race last year. To be honest.
Exactly. It's a really fascinating race. I just have a feeling Q Card might do it tomorrow. It's just it's nothing more than a hunch. It really isn't.
To be fair to Q Card, he probably couldn't breathe in this race last year, because they found that trapped epiglottis, which is the new excuse that seems to be coming out quite often lately. There's always a little trend with like a certain problem, like ulcers came along and now it's a trapped epiglottis.
Say that one more time.
Trapped epiglottis.
I said it slower that time.
Yeah.
I've always felt Q Card, it could be, it's one of the most talented horses I think we've seen. I think he's more talented than Silvaniaco Conti is. Results stay opposite.
Well, for a horse that won a champion bumper to keep going like this, I mean, he ran in the Supreme Novices, he was beaten in that, obviously. He then went on. He was beaten by Sprinter Sacra in the Arkle. Then he went on and won the Ryanair the year after that. Now he's a 3-miler. He's a graded winning 3-miler as well. Grade 1 winning 3-miler at that.
If we're putting it down, I'll put it, the final thing I'll say, if we put it down to prices, there is no question of a doubt I'd rather take 3-1 on Q Card than 10-11 on Silvernyaka Conti personally.
I think it's a no bet race.
No, I'll edge towards not having a bet, but if I did have a bet, it would be Q Card. And if I have a few winners before then, I will probably back Q Card.
When our camper bolts up in the fixed brush race, then it's all on to Q Card.
Oh, God. Right, so once more, it's myself and Adam with Silvernyaka Conti taking on Callum with the Q Card. A bit of a trend going forward for this evening, or this tomorrow's racing as well. Let's see if we can carry it on in the 3:15 at Ascot. The Shawbrook handicap chased over 2 miles and 192 yards. 10 go to post this time at Adam, including Cold March, who was a winner, a good winner as well over course and distance just 21 days ago.
He was an impressive winner. He won by 7 lengths on that occasion. He's gone up £10 in the handicap. I think he could find it tough off this mark. It's not exactly the most inspiring of races. Fargo, it was good to see him come back, and I'm maybe wrong in suggesting I think he might be a bleeder as well. So it could just be that first time out was the time to catch him. It's interesting that they're back at 2 miles with him, because he is shaped as though he wants 2.5, but the way he finishes his races off, a step back to 2 may just help him. I remember him going really well in the Topham a couple of years ago before he took a right perler at the final ditch. This is a tricky race. I would have been keen on Dresden, but the handicap has absolutely hammered him for that Aintree win. I don't think it was particularly the strongest of races. I honestly, I don't know what to go for in this. It's such a tricky race. I don't want to go with Turnover Civil now. I'm off that cliff. I've given up with him. But I don't want to put anything up in the race, and that's the first one on the other hoof, but there's honestly nothing in this that appeals to me. Or do I have to put something up?
Yeah.
Fine, I'll put Fargo up, but it's very, very, very tentative. No bet in the race. Jeez.
I've got a couple in this race, to be honest. I think Cold March wins it, to be honest. I think he's the improver. He's a 5-year-old, albeit he's got to lump around 11 stone 12. He was very impressive last time out. Venetia Williams Yard are in good form. Liam Treadwell's riding about as well as he's ever ridden. Also, he's 3-1. It's not the best of prices, but I think he could just be the best handicapped horse in this field. I think he could be, right?
Yeah, disagree.
Okay. It could just be that he'll win this tomorrow. He'll go up to a mark of about 157, 158, and he'll really suffer for that because this isn't the strongest of races, and it'd be a fairly false 158 rated horse. He went up £10 for winning last time out, but Cold March, it could just be best horse in the race, top weight. He goes and wins it. I think I'd be willing to give Dunravenstorm another chance. I was quite keen on him at Cheltenham 2 outings ago. His jumping is a bit of a worry. He hit a few at Cheltenham when he came third to Boone Doomer. It was a pretty interesting race. I'm going to watch this back a bit later on, because I don't know if Adam just sneezed or something, but to eat something, he threw his head right back. Dunravenstorm, though, sorry, it was interesting and entertaining. Probably more entertaining. Adam's eating on the other.
Eating on the show.
The old trick's back. Remember Michael?
Now he's talking with his mouth full. Now he's talking. All right, it's fine, Callum. Now he's drinking. Put your drink down, Callum. Back to Dunravenstorm. He was thrown at the deep end last time out at Exeter in the Howland Gold Cup behind Vibrato Valta. It was fairly good company to be held. And again, he made a couple of little niggly mistakes, but this is a much, much easier race than he contested on that occasion. He was only still beaten 11 lengths by Vibrato Valta. Off the same mark tomorrow, if he can sort his jumping out and cut down on his errors, Ascot is a track that he's won round before, and the Philip Hobbs Yard are in seemingly pretty decent form. So Dunravenstorm about 14-1 could be an each way play, but I do think Cold March is just a matter of he's the best horse in the race. He's going to keep it simple. He's going to win for an informed yard. I believe on earlier noise, you agree with me on that? Yeah,
really impressed last time. Stronger race than what tomorrow's, I think. I think £10 rise is very fair. Just the dominance of that performance, that you can rate him far higher, and the ground is more suitable for him because he's a Venetia horse. So I would not oppose him whatsoever 3-1, especially Fargo's second favourite, who's a horse that is just had so many problems. I mean, he's only been seen 5 times in the last 2 years. And he's a horse that often doesn't finishes his races weekly. I could have him at all tomorrow, personally. He's a really, really tricky horse that has had a lot of problems. Why would I want to take that 11-2? He probably bolts up now, but
it's Paul Nichols. He can do.
Well, it is Nichols. It is Nichols. Another weak finish in Turnover Civilas in there as well, which got a time form squiggle after its last run. I think that was thoroughly deserving squiggle.
He's been deserving one for a couple of years. What you guys been doing? Don't give Loose Chips one. You don't give Turnover Civilas.
Loose Chips is not a dog. It just no.
Apart from today when he absolutely
he idled. Shut up. Cold March wins.
Cold March for myself and Callum. We've turned the tables. It's myself and Callum against Adam now. Who did you go for? Was it Fargo, Adam, wasn't it?
Yeah, very, very, very tentatively.
No, Adam really fancies Fargo.
Unlucky Adam.
One final race to cover from Channel 4 tomorrow afternoon is the 3:35 at Haydock. The cash out in running with Betfair handicap chase. Ironically, you can also cash out with most other bookmakers for in running purposes, just to keep that in mind. The 3 miles and 24 yards is the apologies to Betfair for that. That was an unneeded shot. 3 miles and 24 yards is the trip for tomorrow. 10 horses go to post. And Adam, it's a competitive race. It may not be the strongest one, but there are a few useful types in it.
Yeah, it's these typical 3 mile handicap chases that you see week in, week out. I do have a strong fancy in the race. I've been price-wise for the 3rd time today. Toby Larone, I think, is a horse that loves soft ground. Haydock's a track that he's performed well at in the past. And a sweetener over hurdles looks to have done in the world of good. He won at Tosari Beat, for instance, and I think this has been the early season plan for him. So he's the one to beat in this race. I know Royal Palladium jumped really well at Wincanton, but that was a really grueling contest with Dropout Joe. And it'd be interesting to see how he bounces back off a short break. I think the main threat to Toby Larone is Stradnahanna. Sue Smith's horses are going well at the minute. And he's a nice horse. I thought he'll shape better for the first outing last time out. So others in the race, Theatrical Star is becoming a cliff horse of mine. He wants further than this, ideally. Suncloud is one that I'm of the opinion he needs at least 6 weeks between his races. So I'm not particularly keen on him tomorrow. I'm keen to ignore Vieux Leon Rouge just on the basis of Pipe Yard not performing. And Indian Castle, I feel sorry for the horse. He's hard to describe, really, because he's a horse that I don't really think takes a very hard race really well. Like at the festival in the Kimmuir, they had to douse him in water, and in the Scottish National, similar happened. So I hope he comes back safe and sound tomorrow. Toby Larone's a fairly confident selection here. I think he is a clear one to beat here, and I think he's well handicapped off that mark against this one.
That's fair enough. Conditions as well would be absolutely perfect for Toby Larone. I think the two Sue Smith pair, well, the Sue Smith pair, ironically, there are 2 of them. Finishing this race. Adam, just say who you fancy one more time.
Toby Larone will love the conditions, and it is absolutely chucking it down outside, so the more rain, the better.
Toby Larone for Adam then for the Dan Skelton yard. Harry Skelton teaming up with his brother, currently at the head of the market at 4-1. He's not at the head of the market. Royal Palladium's at the head of the market.
Take 3.
Start again.
Adam, can you say who you fancy in this race again, please?
Toby Larone.
Why do you fancy Toby Larone?
Because the conditions will suit. Everything's
So
perfect.
Toby Larone for Adam for Dan Skelton and Harry Skelton. Currently about 9-2. Not at the head of the market, though. That's Royal Palladium for the Manisha Williams yard, teaming up with Aidan Coleman at 4-1. Calmly, the 2 that I quite like are the Sue Smith pair, No Planning and Stradnahanna. Stradnahanna should be a lot better for his 2nd appearance of the season. Also, Danny Cook seemingly preferring Stradnahanna to No Planning, who I don't think should be around the 12-1, 14-1 mark, No Planning. Sean Quillen is riding tomorrow, but he seemingly lost his way of offences at the back end of last season. He tackled some pretty tough races as well. He's refound that form over hurdles. A mark of 139 could still be fairly well handicapped. Last time out, he was given an impossible task in graded action, wasn't it, behind Kilcooley in the West Yorkshire Hurdle. Rock on Ruby also in there. It was probably not the right race to be running No Planning, and he's much inferior to those rivals. But back amongst handicap chasers tomorrow afternoon, I think 12-1 could be a fairly nice each way price. And Stradnahanna, as mentioned, will have to improve for that recent reappearance at Kelso, but he has won here before. And he does possess all the abilities anyway to be going very close in a race like this. He's one that may just be a little bit too slim in the market, around 5-1. But No Planning will probably be my main selection each way at about 12-1. As Adam mentioned, the Sue Smith yard are in absolutely fantastic form as of late. So No Planning it is for me. For yourself, Callum?
Yeah, I thought Royal Palladium ran a cracker in the Badger Ales. I think deserves to be favourite. I could take on Toby Larone personally. Stratton looks the better of the two Sue Smith pairs.
Wait, start that again.
I think that's a rock solid horse to be honest. Stratton. I thought Suncloud was quite interesting actually. I looked at Adam's point about him probably wanting a bit longer between his races, but he has won twice after 29-day breaks, so I wouldn't be too worried about a 23-day break. My main angle with him tomorrow is that, yeah, he stays really well. I mean, I think he's won over 3 mile 6 on heavy ground before, but he's not a horse that lacks pace. I mean, he's won over 2 mile 5 at Sedgefield back in March. And I think the main thing I noticed tomorrow is just how many front runners there are. There's a lot of horses that will want to really make the issue. And I think on this ground as well, I think this is going to be a proper slog. Just looking at potential front runners, you've got Toby Larone wants to go for a Theatrical Star, Stradnahanna and Royal Palladium, all of them pretty much race close up or lead. Paul Masters, another one. Indian Castle will be up there.
I think that would also boost the thoughts of No Planning as well. He's a horse that really does need to travel into the race fairly strongly.
Yeah.
But I just think 12-1 really overpriced for him.
Yeah, I could see that. I can definitely oppose those at the top of betting. I think there's a bit of value in this race around, and I thought Suncloud potentially could be. I think he's a strong travelling horse that I think will do a lot of his work on the bridle. He's been dropped a couple of pounds after his Sedgefield round, I think is pretty fair. He's a horse probably handicapped near to his limit, but at the same time, that £2 does help it somewhat, and I think he's got a good each way chance at 12s. So he's the one for me that I'd have a bet on, Suncloud.
Yeah, Suncloud for Callum. For myself, No Planning, and for Adam, he is going for Toby Larone, and fairly confidently as well, Adam, isn't it? Yeah. Right, still time to get your questions into our Twitter page @OnTheOtherHoof. We'll read every single question fancy that you may have out right now. Still plenty of time to get your questions in, though, so do get them in now. The first question of the day, as well, per normal, it's not always now. Kai has been slacking the last couple of weeks. He says, what are the chances of Brother Ted tomorrow? I think myself and Adam quite fancy Brother Ted fairly strongly. I won't make you go through this all again. But Callum's taking on Brother Ted with Rock on Ruby tomorrow. It does look a pretty competitive race, though, and a decent renewal of the Coral Hurdle, we'll call it. Tony Amato sends a question saying, hey, Les, seen Adam at Haydock today with one of them horrible Betfair things around his neck. Mind you, kept him warm.
I needed it. It was freezing at Haydock.
They make good dusters.
They do make
great dusters.
Yeah,
well, I'll be picking up another one tomorrow then if they make great dusters. It was absolutely. If you obviously people want to watch Haydock today, the weather was just so unpredictable. It was horrible. At least it's going to be sunny tomorrow. That's the main thing.
Yeah, probably won't be. Tony then goes on to say, I'm splitting Quick Rock tomorrow in the bumper at Ascot as a penalty, but as a banger when she won, and jockey was very happy indeed. Tony loves a bumper, but good luck with Quick Rock. Kai then comes back in and says, T for 2, thoughts on that? Again, we said T for 2 could be very well handicapped, but for me anyway, I think Shantu Bob's the one to take in the race.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Talking of T for 2, though, I'd like to just quickly change topic for just a second, and I'd like to mention T for 3, who was retired earlier in the week, and I feel quite sad about it. He should have won a Grand National. What a horse he was. Wore his heart on his sleeve, and I'll miss him. He was one of my favourite horses in the past couple of years, so I hope he has a long, happy retirement. And yeah, he's a flagship horse for Rebecca Curtis, the first winner for Heritage at the festival, so I think she'll miss him an awful lot, and I'll miss him an awful lot on the racetrack. So happy retirement to T for 3.
Yeah, happy retirement to T for 3. A fantastic horse for quite a few years. I think all of us actually backed him at some point or another.
Yeah. I knew him before Adam did.
Yeah, he did.
Actually, I think we all backed him in a national at some point.
when he won the National Hunt Chase, I said to somebody, I said he'd win a Grand National. And when he jumped the last in 2013, I thought he was just going to do it. And then a Rose Encore went past. Wasn't complaining, though.
After time, and there we go. Kai Wills then goes on to say, and this is one of our favourite things of the week, it's really developed into anyway. He says, a completely unrelated question to anything we talk about and anything that we are going to talk about on The Other Hoof, except for this question. He says, what is your biggest fear? Mine is flying. I never had Kai Wills down as a guy that didn't like flying.
Well, he went on holiday, didn't he, the other week?
I don't know anything about Kai Wills, so I didn't
just from that picture, it just looks. Look at him. He just looks happy.
Yeah, that's all I know about him. He likes beer.
Well, he's Welsh as well. But he kind of looks Eastern European.
And full English breakfasts.
And he loves a full English breakfast. We've had that question before, actually. Full English breakfast. He's also... There's Joker. A little bit in the background. Oh, some gut on that. Right. That's our diversion done from Kai for the week. Your biggest fear?
Snakes.
We had that discussion the other day.
We did. I hate snakes.
That's weird. I'm the exact same as Callum. I hate them as well. Oh, horrible creatures. Oh.
I'm a bit claustrophobic. I'll say that. I'm not really a big fan of being in small places, to be honest.
Fair enough.
We developed from being trapped in a box by my older brother when I was much, much smaller.
Is that true?
That is true. That is true. Absolutely not.
Go, Matt.
I'm also not. It's not a fear, but I'm not a fan of polystyrene. Everything about that can just I'm gonna give myself a one-time swear. Everything about polystyrene can just fuck off. Like, it's just shit. Everything about it sucks.
You swore twice.
Shit. Apologies for that. If anyone is offended, they can contact Adam. They can contact Adam's Twitter page to personally complain about my use of the French language. Kev the Punter comes in next to say Jarlo for the fixed brush handicap hurdle. Very impressive at Exeter, low in the weights and with an in-form yard. Really, that's every single point absolutely smashed for Jarlo, isn't it, Adam?
Yeah, it is. I mean, Callum had slight concerns about that he needs to improve further, but it wouldn't surprise me. Venetia Williams.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, but you had that concern. It's a fair concern to have, but I wonder if Venetia will be at Haydock tomorrow. She might be at Ascot. It'd be interesting to see where she goes tomorrow.
Actually, cold march, absolutely hack up at Ascot. So, George Wham has come. Well, he's compared myself and Adam to Ant and Dec, and he then said that we're better than I'm a celebrity. So
obviously,
I think that's win-win, really.
Yep.
In that regard, but I hope you're enjoying the Ant and Dec duo. Although, what did that make?
One's cat
dealing. Your cat dealing. That's it. You're right.
Shouldn't you two be Ant and Dec because you sat with each other? It would make more sense, but
more to follow. Jamie Brownlow then says torn between Q Card and Ballynagore. I think Ballynagore will be the outsider of the race. Doubt that. Bolly was 25. Okay, it says well back. Ballynagore will come on for the run in the Charlie Hall Chase, but stable not in good form, sadly. That they are not, Jamie. But best of luck with Q Card and Ballynagore tomorrow. KJ the second. And then comes in and says, how do you see Feely and Walsh riding their races tomorrow? Will they try and dominate their fields from the front? I think Feely will, Walsh won't, to be honest.
Feely, I can see him tracking Q Card again like he did last year. He'll let Q Card go on, and then he'll use Silvaniaco Conti's fast, accurate jumping, and he'll take it up 3 out and away and gone. Ruby, it's interesting what they'll do with Voto. I think they'll want him handy, obviously. But, yeah, interesting.
Yeah, interesting on that regard. Jamie then goes on to say, what do you think of the poor field sizes at the moment? Season just not started, but got some small fields races.
You get them, though. It's part of the jump season, I'm afraid. It's all...
I mean, you can complain about the Betfair Chase tomorrow, but at the end of the day, we've got 5 pretty good, very, very useful 3-mile chases. It's a good race. It's a shame we've only got 5 in there. We would prefer to have a lot more, but what can be done? I mean, there's a lot of prize money put up for the Betfair Chase. It's the first leg of the so-called National Hunt Triple Crown now. But none of the Irish horses have come over. They put the money on it. It hasn't worked. What else are you supposed to do?
Oh, God knows.
Yeah, well, actually, there was a very good point from Graham Cunningham made on Racing UK that they announced the offer about a month ago. Now, that's not long enough warning to give 2 connections. I mean, Gordon Elliott's probably got a bit of got a plan with what he's going to do with Don Cossack. Willie Mullins has probably got a plan what he's going to do with the likes of Jack Adam as well. So they can't divert just in a month just because someone's put on a bit of money, because it could throw the horse off completely. I think it was pretty poor timing from Betfair. For all that it is good that they've put up that sort of money, But what else are you going to do about it, to be honest? I mean, it's something that is worth discussing for another day. But at the moment, I think the races are pretty competitive tomorrow, and they are fairly classy as well, for all that we only have small fields turning up.
As long as they're competitive, I won't really complain. That's me being honest. As long as it's not like there's one horse that's going to dominate. You obviously got the Priceless Hurdle. Three of them have got a chance of winning it. It's competitive racing, and as long as we've got that, and as long as it's exciting, then I'm not really going to complain.
Yeah. Next in from Jackie Kingdom. Adam, what were you singing at Haydock this evening?
You remember my Brian Hughes rant the other week?
Yeah.
Well, when he went on Vintage Clouds to keep warm, I thought he was singing Simply the Best, better than all the rest. And Jackie sort of turns to me and went, I'm going to mention that tonight. I thought, oh, God.
Sing it.
I'm not singing it. Get lost.
Sing it.
No.
Sing it.
No.
Sing it.
Next question.
And that comes courtesy of Maddie P, Maddie has got a good track record with Q-Card and Dynast. Last year for the Charlie Hall, I think it was. No, actually, it was for this race.
2 years ago,
2 years ago, actually. Sorry, 2 years ago. She said,
as well.
she tweeted the show saying if she doesn't fancy Dynast or Q-Card tomorrow, I think she said they may come last and second last, something like that. Or no, if they either of those won, she'd eat her foot.
She got the forecast.
And then Q-Card won and beat Dynast. The Charlie Hall, she said exactly the same thing, and Q-Card beat Dynast. Tomorrow she's taken them both on with Silviniaco Conti. So
we all know what's going to happen.
Q-Card beats Dynast tomorrow in the Betfair Chase. That remains to be seen. But Jamie Brownlow comes back in and says, I like the chance of top notch. Soft will suit him at Haydock. Should beat Irving tomorrow. I agree with that. Callum was taking on top notch, however, and Kai Wills goes on to say a horse that both of you guys actually put up as a horse or wanted to put up as a horse to follow. I think only one of you did in the end. You, wasn't it? Sizing John, did you put up as a horse to follow?
Did you?
Yeah, it says Kai Wills says I'm really sweet on Sizing John for the arc. I'll agree, but I thought more JLT.
I've backed him to the JLT.
He could go either way. He could go either way though, and wherever he turns up, he will be a major player. Love him.
Yeah, I think the JLT is the way to go for Sizing John. Kevin Bunter then says top notch at Irving tomorrow. Looks like opinion is split on Twitter. Top notch for me. If you're going on this show, it's 2-1 to top notch. Myself and Adam with top notch. Callum with.
I can't be bothered really.
That's not the attitude to have, Callum.
I'm sorry.
That's not the only other way.
I can't really split them.
Sam Boswell says. Does Underside heading for Tingle Creek mean Sprinter won't show up and we put away for March? I highly doubt that.
Oh, wow. Sprinter Sacre, Jesus.
No, I think you'll get a Kempton.
That's a good point.
I'd be really disappointed if he didn't go for the Tingle Creek.
But in a way, Nicky Henderson will want to mind him now. He's over.
I completely get that, but
I do. To be fair, I'd rather. The thing with Sprinter Sacre, I thought he was gone at the game. I thought Bobsworth was gone at the game as well, so it shows what I know.
Yeah,
but it was
the biggest cynic I've ever met.
I'm not the biggest cynic. Has everything in racing got to be positive and you can't have an opinion like that? Jeez. But it was great to see him back, and I'm less cynical about the horse now than I was before the race. I don't think he'll run over Tingle Creek. I think it's potential he'll go to Kempton over Christmas, or maybe even to Ascot for what was the Victor Chandler, Clarence House is now, and then go to Cheltenham. It's an interesting one. I think the horse could be back. Obviously not to his best. He's nowhere near that, but he's back to a level where he could potentially win Grade 1s again.
I'd be disappointed if he didn't go for Tingle Creek, to be quite honest. Him versus Underso would be a pretty good matchup. And also, Sada Grugy got a pretty warm talking up from Gary Moore today as well. So we'll see how that goes. It could shape up to be a very, very good race indeed for the Tingle Creek at Sandown on the 5th of December. Jamie Brownlow is backing Shanty Bob and Our Camphor in the 5th Brush Hurdle, agreeing with everything that we've pretty much said about Shanty Bob and Our Camphor. They were selections here. And Ryan Ferris tweeted in a bit earlier on, made me chuckle a little bit with this regards. He said, should I paint my living room magnolia or cream? I'd go for cream because that reflects Ryan Ferris's personality a bit more. Just a chilled, laid-back guy who just likes letting life pass himself.
Whatever makes him less angry would be great.
Yeah,
although, if he paints it magnolia, then you wouldn't see the stains from the blood from his knuckles when he's watching German claiming horses win Group 1s.
Oh, dearie me. I can't imagine him painting, if I'm being honest. He'd lose
Little known fact. Ryan Ferris loves a good Van Gogh.
Oh, right. I just can't imagine him painting. I can imagine him losing his patience very, very quickly.
Ryan doesn't do that. Jeff Handley tweets and saying, "I agree about Court Minstrel on the ground, but jockey Paul Maloney also rides in the opener at Huntingdon. Nonetheless, I mean, Huntingdon to Ascot is very doable. Also, he's riding in a Grade 2. I wouldn't read too much into that, to be quite frank. He probably just didn't have any more offers at Huntingdon for the rest of the day, whereas Court Minstrel is an interesting one for that. But it'll be interesting to see how he does get on at Huntingdon in the first race, seemingly going there not just to have a bit of a tour of England on the day." Sean, Private Sean, says, "Was last year's King George Conti's best performance to date?" Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, happy with that. Stu Williams says, "We know Silvaniaco Conti isn't a Cheltenham horse, but 3 miles on the flat track with testing ground is his game. Bolts up tomorrow. Not at all worried about Alcantara on soft ground tomorrow." That's a question. To us, really. Are we worried about Alcantara on softer ground? Being kept to a sounder surface previously, attritional race.
He went on softer ground last time. Admittedly, they went a slow pace, but he handled it fine. So I've got no concern about him on the ground tomorrow because he's a strong traveller, and I think he will be one of the last ones off the bridle. So yeah, I think they're really well.
Yeah, I think there's a plenty going in Alcantara's direction tomorrow. George Wham then has come back in and said, "What's Ant Deck and..." Sorry, buddy, he's calling it Cat Dealey now.
Really?
What's Ant Deck and Cat Dealey's naps for tomorrow? Wait and see. We'll be getting to those in about 5 minutes.
Wow.
For our naps. Private Sean goes for Batavia to win the Tap Tap Boom fixed brush hurdle.
No.
I think he just wanted to tweet us and say Tap Tap Boom, if we're being quite honest, because he capitalised it as well. Lewis Sungala says, "Any thoughts on Smart Talk in the 130 at Ascot? Looks ready for the rising class." Have not looked at that.
Interesting jockey booking. Sam Twisten Davis with Brian Ellison, and she is favourite as well. She should be the one to beat. But I'm surprised. Has Jeff Handley tweeted us about Promanco because she's running in this race?
Yeah, not yet, but now he will do.
All right. It'll be interesting to see what he thinks about her tomorrow. But then she's going for the Mayor's final, so.
Yeah, interesting in that regard. Soppy Cakes or Soapy Cakes, apologies, I'm not sure how to say your Twitter tag, but welcome to On the Other Who followed us a little bit earlier on. Thank you for tweeting in as well. He says, "With Conti running tomorrow, what do you think of talk of him going for a Grand National?" If he won the Betfair Chase and he won the King George, as much as he isn't a Gold Cup horse, I think Connections would be tempted to go for the million.
They would be, but I don't see him as a Grand National horse either. Just take him to Aintree and running the Mildmate, just running the Martel Cup, whatever it's called now.
A mistake about Aintree from Adam. Wow, I never thought I'd see the day.
It's over the Mildmate course anyway, so I am right in that sense.
Oh no, wait, that's Loose Chips. I'm sorry.
I don't see Conti as a Grand National horse.
I think
he jumped really well. But I just don't see him staying 4 mile 3.5. He'd be paddling coming to the Melling Road for me. So you give a good sight, but not for me in a Grand National.
Yeah, he wouldn't be for me either, in fairness. Kijo Seconds then quoted my tweet about polystyrene, and then the National Hunt 10 to follow has then confessed their love for polystyrene. So that earns you an unfollow straight away.
We'll spell it wrong, so.
Polystyrene. Polystyrene. Polystyrene, KJ. Well, that's showing that disrespect it deserves, actually. So
I love this. I love what Sean's doing right now. Sean is bringing up all your old tweets about Silvaniaco Conti and how much of a place he was for 2014 at Aintree. Oh, good times.
I could always bring up the time that Sean tried to take a selfie at York and missed the button. Kai Wills then comes back and says, "Where do you stay at Cheltenham when the festival is on? Do you get shafted £150 a night?" When I stay, with Michael and my parents as well up at Stowe on the Wold. It's about half an hour from the course, but it's a nice place to stay. I don't know how much it actually is because I stay with a friend, so I'm not sure how much it is in that regard. But if you're looking into places to stay, Stowe on the Wold's a pretty nice place to go as long as you can drive in because it's half an hour away. But don't know, to be honest. I'd say around that price. But take a few mates and get a house for the week. That's what I say. That's my advice. That's the last question as well. We've got in for On the Other Hoof this week. Only naps left to come. And Adam, it's not an easy week for naps, is it?
It's not, no. I'm gonna go with Toblerone in the last. May as well.
I'm gonna go for Cold March in the 3:15 at Ascot.
Ooh, interesting.
I'm going to the Trust Your Weather. Abe Lincoln in the best race of the day, the conditions race of 2-year-olds. 12:50. So Abe Lincoln, Jeremy Nazida.
He won well at Kempton, he did.
He won well at Kempton, he did.
He did.
He did. Father McGinty's run his own
3 months ago. Oh, what?
Time flies.
Yeah, it won really well, to be fair.
And the last thing to say before we leave, Douvan makes his chasing debut at Navan, and he's basically coming up against horses that will be going for handicap marks, so he should win pretty easily.
Thanks for that, Adam.
No worries.
Thank you to everyone for joining. Actually, horse to follow winner for me in the week. So Adam, you can tally. Well, we won't count that one. You can tally. You can tally up that a little bit later on, Adam. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for On the Other Hoof this week. A good weekend of action coming up for us with the likes of Douvan on Sunday, as mentioned. We've also got the Coral Hurdle tomorrow, as well as the Betfair Chase, and also Bator making his reappearance at Ascot. A decent weekend of racing, and hopefully informative for the rest of the year. Until next week on the Other Hoof, good luck this week with your punting, and goodbye.